Hello, good evening. I'm Earl Gibbes, and welcome to Earl Gibbes Live, coming to you live here from World Star Studios, Amsterdam Shopping Center. And with me this evening, well, I have two very interesting guests. We have this young lady. I'm sure you know her. This is Arrendell. Mrs. Arrendell is the commercial manager at NVGB, right?
Yes.
Uh, Good to have you in the program, and congratulations on your new appointment.
Thank you.
And we also have with us this evening Mr. Drijvers, right? And you're no stranger, right?
Absolutely not.
Well, I mean, this lady is no stranger either. But you are involved in GEBE as head of planning and engineering.
That's correct.
All right. And you have how many years with the company?
I'm 17 years with the company right now.
And Ms. Arrendell is what?
I have 25 years with the company right now.
Well, it's good to have you all here this evening. We're going to start first with you, Ms. Arrendell. Tell us about what GEBE is doing and why you're here this evening.
Okay, we are here this evening because we are busy narrowing the gap between GEBE and its customers. We recognize and realize that we are doing our job, but we can do it even better than what we are doing right now. And for us to be able to do a better job or to give our customers a better service, we need to update our customer information. So, for instance, we need all from our 20,000 customers, we need the emails, we need the phone numbers. So in the event of a situation, we can contact them. Because right now, that is a problem that we face. And that's about the most. And then the way how we're going to go about it, and also letting them know about the different services that GEBE offer, not only from the commercial side of it, but also from the distribution side, because they're the ones who deal with the whole network of GEBE. So, and we just want to inform our customers and keep them informed.
Yeah, no, that's so good. I can recall the early days of GEBE, and a lot of people used to complain. Well, you still have complaints now, but it's not like it used to be. The company's come a very long way. And what I like to, I have said before, is that the email that was sent out with the bill. So if you have an email address, you can submit it, and then you get your bill monthly by email, right?
Yes, that's one of the services that we provide. We are facing some problems with the email to the extent that when we send out the bulk emails, it drops a whole set of them. So we are also asking our customers, because we have our website, and we would like our customers to go to the website and register for in that. On the website, you not only will get your current bill, but you can see your history up to 6 months, so you can see when your payments are made. And once we have your email, no matter which method of payment, whether check or whether online, then we can email you your receipt, so you don't even have no need to come to GEBE anymore.
Explain me this one. I didn't know about this one. You tell me that up to 6 months I can look.
Yes,
Yeah?
if you go and register on our website in My Login, yes, we have the procedure, and that's one of the things what we want to inform. So when we go to the community centers, we'll be informing our customers, and we're hoping that the majority of customers go in. Because once you do the My Login, we will not be sending you a physical bill anymore.
Right.
Because then you can monitor your own account.
So now I'm looking at myself, right? I get the email every month, and I never logged in. I just contacted someone by email. So now, first time, I'll have to go back and log in.
Yeah, you have to go personally register. You have to get your password and everything. And once you connect in 24 hours, you'll get an email telling you everything is confirmed. And you can add as many accounts as you so desire.
So how long you been doing this now?
Well, it is not official, but right now it's becoming official. But we have a number. We have about 600 customers who already subscribe to it.
Well, I'm going to do it tonight.
Okay, that's nice to know. That's the intention.
Right. And so I'm going to come back to you, Mr. Arrendell. Mr. Drijvers, now you have a department that is involved in terms of planning and engineering. This is the backbone of GEBE work, right?
That is correct. Besides the power generation facility, we also have to do the infrastructure work for the entire island. Basically, what we do is bring new projects or upgrade the existing utilities that are there. As you have known in the past, we used to have overhead lines where we give the current, transport the electricity over. Now we are trying as much as possible to get the electricity cables lines underground. To date, we have approximately 90% of the high voltage system underground. That is basically what we call our backbone. And then approximately, say, between 50 and 60% of the low voltage cables system network is underground as well. On a yearly basis, we do projects, and projects for, as again, upgrading, expansions, new developments, for like private developments. And all of this to indicate and also show the people that we are developing and doing something better for the community as well. As you know, we're in a hurricane-prone area, and having lines above ground, of course, one is dangerous, and two, it can be damaged as quick as we put it up, basically. Also, our lines that are overhead also have a lot of maintenance because it's exposed to the salty air. So having them underground is a lot more efficient for us as well, especially for the distribution of the electricity.
Is there a time frame as to when we'll see maybe 99% of the network on the ground?
Yes, as again, yearly we have a budget that we put together, and in that budget are the several different projects that we're going to do for the year for GEBE. There are, again, also client-based projects that come up, but again, those come up with walk-in clients. They come in and say, hey, listen, I have a development or something like that. But based on the meetings that we had, approximately, it would take us about approximately 5 more years for us to get, as you said, about 90% of the entire grid underground.
Okay. So now, Arrendell, as a commercial manager, you involve, you have a staff of how many persons?
I have a staff of about 45 persons, and they are distributed as, accordingly, and we have the front office where you do the application for light and water. We have our billing department where they prepare the bills, and then we have what we call the collection department. That's where you come and make all your payments. And as I say again, together with the distribution, because there are times customers wonder why, if they send in a complaint, one area takes so long, but GEBE is not a small company. So by the billing department might take a complaint about a meter, but then they have to send information to the technical department to make an order so that the technicians can go and investigate and then get back, and then we'll be able to answer to you and tell you what is going on.
So I noticed there was a change in the telephone number. How is that working for, say, for emergencies and so forth?
Yes, we have the 844 number. That's a free number, so you wouldn't have to pay. That's why we encourage people for the emergency purposes to make use of the number. It is every month on your bill, and every day we have it in the newspapers, because I know it's a very long number, but it is still accessible.
Yeah.
So then, in that way, customers can always make use of it.
You know, it's amazing because, you know what, I'm laughing. The other day, somebody had a problem, and they called me.
Yeah.
I said, you don't know the number? They said, no. So I looked at my phone and I gave them the number. And now that I have you here, maybe GEBE should give me a few dollars. I can put it up on the screen. And people see it every night, then no more problem.
Obviously, but it's every day in the paper, in the newspaper.
I know, it's amazing.
And just to inform them, it is on your utility bill. So if you look at your bill, you will always find the number.
So they don't have to call me anymore. So what else do you think your clients need to know about GEBE from the commercial perspective? Especially
when we look at the payments, because one of the changes that we made is we don't have a line for checks anymore, but there's a reason for that. Okay. We have a drop box at the office at Phillipsburg and also one at Simpson Bay. And once persons place their email address, even behind the checks right now, since we did not gather all emails as yet, we will email you your receipt. So in that way, you don't have to come and stand over long lines. We especially did that so that we can accommodate all those that pay with cash, because those are the ones who still have to stand in line. But we hope in the near future that we'll diminish that a whole lot.
Yeah, because standing in line to pay cash takes up a lot too. In the long run, you'll save money if people don't pay by cash, right?
Yes, it'll be better, and it's safer for each and every one of us also.
Yeah. What else You think as GEBE, your client need to know because you mentioned the one with the cash. They can also pay online. Also,
Complaints. We are trying to gather all our complaints in one particular area so that we can monitor it and check our response time. So we're asking all customers if you have any complaints, they can email them to customerservice@nvgebe.com. And in that way, we will have someone who will track it, and they will be able to get back to the customer once we have the information for us to get back to the customer.
That's good. And so now, coming back to Mr. Drijvers, in terms of the work that you do, it's mostly behind the scene. You don't deal with the customers the way Sister Arrendell. You're more
the contrary, actually. The reason why I say the contrary, because every day we have connections. We have extensions, as I mentioned already, private developments. So you do have to sit with with clients in order to find out exactly what their project entails, where they want their meter. My department basically consists of 9 people. It is split in 3 divisions. One is a senior planner division, junior planning division, and the drafting room. When you're talking about small extensions and client-based customer orientation, that is the junior planners. They will get in contact with the junior planners based on, of course, once you have applied for a meter, for example, you will be in direct contact with the junior planners as they do all the calculations and also the studies for these small extensions. When you talk about small extensions, meaning, for example, if a new home is being built and, for example, what we call a distribution point, a meter wall, we have to be able to bring the electricity cable from that meter wall to the new home, and that's what we consider small extensions. Also, based on the large clients, like hotels, housing developments, those are also clients. But we also have, for example, government that is also a client that come in with, for example, with their emergency road works that they are doing as well. So we have different clients that we deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Now, I assume that the trenching work is pretty expensive. I mean, you work along with other utility companies, right?
That is correct. All trenching work is done in collaboration with all the utility companies on the island. So VROMI has made it a standard that once any trench, any party, any utility company wants to expand or upgrade their network, that all utility companies go along so that we only have one time that the trench is open and that all utilities go in at the same time. So all companies have that opportunity to upgrade their system as well.
Now, GEBE installed a few years ago fiber optic cables, right?
GEBE did yes and no. Why did I say yes and no? Mostly what we have done for the past 15 years is install fiber tubes. These fiber tubes are basically conduits from, first of all, the power source, the power generation source, to our substations. From our substations, we go with these tubes to transformer houses. From the transformer houses, we go now to these distribution points, the meter walls, that is the client. And this was done totally with the idea that someday in the future we'll be able to use this to be able to connect it to for example, the meters, and we could be able to remotely disconnect, reconnect, read the meters and all those type of things. And it came out and it played out in the right way. So the investment that we did in the past is now, man, we got a wealth of money in the ground, basically.
So now, for example, there are some new meters, water and electricity meters that are digital and more accurate? Correct.
If I could start with electrical meters. The electrical meters basically, what change we made was change from analog meter to a digital meter. The quality or the accuracy of the meter is the same. That was not changed. What did change is the digital reading and also that the meter can transmit information back to the office. So that is a plus point, whereas you can read your information online as well. So you could check all your readings, whatever time of the day, and follow your trend of consumption at home. So it is not only a benefit for us that we can see and track the consumption on the island, but also yourself. You can manage your electricity consumption at home as well. So that is as far as we are going to go, also with a water meter. Because the water meter also has been changed, but this was a dramatic change from what we had. A dramatic change went from analog to digital, but also the accuracy of the meter is now changed as well.
So if I have just a little drip behind the meter, it registers.
It is, let me not exaggerate, but in terms, yes, basically. But it needs a little bit more of a stream. So basically what you have right now, if you have like a dripping toilet with your old meter, it will not register. So GEBE had a lot of losses in what we call NRW, non-revenue water. So water is being used but not paid for. But now, based on these new meters, the change in accuracy is about 19%. So I'm sad to say, your bill is actually 90% higher, basically.
So let me ask, can I opt out? Can I say, well, you know, I would prefer to keep the old one and not have the new one?
Well, no, and the reason for that is because the old meters are outdated. We don't have any, the spare parts is not being made anymore. So every time we get a chance when one is damaged, we take them out. But we are doing a whole program right now of changing out entire areas right now with these meters. As Edith already mentioned, we have 20,000 customers. And we have right now approximately 9,000, a little less than 9,000 meters installed on the island, where we started from lowlands and we moved all the way up towards nearly, I think it's in Cahill right now that we are with these meters. So
now you said just a while ago, Mr. Drijvers, that the customer can go online and in real time they can see
okay, right now you cannot do that, but what we are doing is a pilot project together with Telem.
Okay.
And they are busy because we have an MOU signed now with each other, that we are working together in order to be able to get this information back to the office. And what I mean information back to the office is they are going to install the fiber network for us, whereas we can connect on to their fiber network and get the information back to the office. Okay. What we call it a smart city project. Okay. Smart city just means getting all the possible information from the client to the office and also the office to the client. Whereas we do in conjunction with Telem, they will do then high-speed internet, voice over IP, and possibly in the near future TV. And we do the online reading of our electricity meters and water meters.
So you're talking about triple play that they call it. Right. Yeah. And so this is something years down the road then?
No, absolutely not. We already seeing that we already have basically, I would say about 80% of the community is being connected with a fiber tube right now. It is only to install the fiber lines. I think 2 weeks ago, Telem had a tender for this fiber to the home project in order to get the cables or the fiber cable to the client. We have tested the meters. We have done some good testing where we can see the real-time consumption on these meters.
Okay, so once that is completed, then the customer will be able to see a lot, right?
They could see their consumption. We also, from our end, can disconnect and reconnect, but that is done via our software system, SAP. When you, for example, when you come in to pay your bill, you have to wait, for example, till 7 o'clock in the evening before someone comes and reconnects you. Once you pay, it reconnects you one time. That is the idea of the whole smart city concept.
What about, you go across the border and you can buy a card and you put it in, you can get electricity when it's
prepaid
up.
System.
Yeah. What about that?
We started with that as well. The meters are here on the island, but knowing that with the fiber to the home project or the smart city project, you can make a choice with that same, not the meter that we have, but the new meter.
Right.
You can make that choice in the office. For example, we are going even that far that you could walk in and say, well, I don't want a postpaid meter. I would like to have a prepaid meter. So it's only for the customers, well, the customer service department to select, hey, listen here, I would like to have a prepaid or a postpaid meter.
It's nice. I can't wait to see all that happen.
And all of that can be paid via your fiber to the home network system that you're putting together right now.
I think one of the problems we have on this island is if you go to Holland and you walk into the banks, they're virtually empty.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, everybody is walking around with a card, very little cash. If we get to that stage, then we won't have any lines at GEBE anymore, right?
That's exactly, yeah.
Yes, that's the idea.
Yeah.
That is the idea.
That's the idea, and then the customer will be better served because they can monitor their own, and if they find the consumption is too high, then they know what they have to do also. There you go.
Now that brings me back, and I was saying to you all before we started the program, and I've spoken to so many people in GEBE in the managerial position, even the late Mr. Lambert and others about, see, I've lived most of my life conservative, you know, from 1991, when I moved into my first home. My wife and I, we made sure to really, you know, don't waste electricity or water. I remember those days our bill was just like 65 guilders. Today it doesn't go over 350 or 400 guilders. And I see people living in sometimes a 2-bedroom house that don't have the appliances that we have in our house, and they're still paying a lot more money. And I think, maybe I'm wrong here, but I think it has to do something with how people use electricity and education. Any plans at GEBE to address that?
Well, I guess, yeah, that's part of the educational process. That too will come. But right now, our focus is not there on. Our focus is really on these services, what we're doing, and that will be in the next phase here. We have done in the past already telling them how to conserve electricity, how to conserve water.
But they're not listening.
I guess, yeah, so we'll have to come up with a strategy how we're going to reach out to them in that way.
Yeah, because my point is that if people conserve in the long run too, GEBE will save because GEBE will have less investment to make in engines, and that will be a savings basically for everyone.
That is correct.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah.
But to educate a person and change their way of living is pretty hard. It's pretty difficult.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the first thing is, who's you to tell me what to do with my
But
life?
then they complain that the bill is too
But they
high.
complain.
Yeah.
Right. But again, we hope that, of course, in the future, that people would be more conservative-minded, and of course, then everyone saves.
Yeah, it's amazing because with some of these digital water meters, when the system indicates that a person might be having a leak, we send an email for those persons we have email. And it's amazing when some people answer, is my leak not pay for it? Why do you worry? And they're like, okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you're trying to help them in the...
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
So you have people who react that way also. And you have those who are very grateful, and then they go and check everything to see how they can make sure to ensure that they really don't have a leak.
So now what you're saying here is that now you can see if there's a leak, or you assume there's a leak because of how the consumption is going. You inform the client, and they sometimes don't appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that's what you get when you go over to these digital meters and way advanced meter. They tell you exactly what is going on in your home, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when it comes to the digital water meter, this is the one that I'm hearing a lot of people complain about. Really, some people are like really angry because they can see a difference. Now, you all are from NVGBE. What can you say to maybe change people's idea or opinion about this digital water meter?
Well, basically, first of all, if I can apologize for GEBE not informing the clients in a timely manner that we were going into this fast meter change out. Mm-hmm. Yes, the first thing what you should do once you know, now that you know that we are changing out, is check all your toilets, check all your faucets. Make sure go outside in your yard, check to see where the grass is greener, because these are the locations where you have leaks. And once you can fix those leaks and have them prepared and fixed, then you wouldn't have the issues that you're having, that the meter will register that there is a leak, and that you will have to pay the additional monies for whatever you didn't consume. You know what I'm saying? Didn't consume because it's a leak.
Yeah.
It is sometimes spending a little bit more money because you have to upgrade your items within your home. But it is something to do because you can save a lot of money, because that meter will keep spinning, and we will keep, of course, charging you for what you didn't use.
And then they'll come to this lady.
Yeah, and complain.
And the other day I had a senior when he complained about his water. Same digital meter, and I find the bill is high. So I tell him, go back and check everything and check the toilet. And I was amazed when he called me back and he said, thank God you told me it was the toilet. Toilet are making people poor, you know.
So what you're saying is that it's such a big difference in terms of just having a toilet that's not working well?
Yeah, because the water continue running, and once that going through the meter is registering every liter.
Yeah. So for example, this is hypothetical. I have a meter now that's digital, and I didn't have one before that, and I will see probably maybe a 25 or 30 gallon more because of a problem like that.
Yeah, the reason for that is because the analog meters were mechanical. So when the water used to go through it is a little like a clock, we call it, and it spins. And once you have a rotation and you have friction, then you have inaccuracy of your readings of your meter. And the meter difference, what you have right now to the old one, you have the analog meter that basically registered at 60 liters an hour, whereas the new one registers at 1 liter an hour. So it makes a big difference. We did some studies prior to, of course, selecting this meter. We did it locally, and we did also collaborate with Curacao, that they also did a study on their meter compared to our meter. And what they found out, the same thing what we found out, is that there was a difference of 19% that was not being read.
Wow.
So it's a big amount. But of course, you have also smart people that would go outside, close their valve a little, leave the water trickle. In some restaurants, I see it on a I used to see it on a day-to-day basis. You close the valve, and the amount of water that goes through your faucet is just not enough to register that meter. So now these clients that get a new meter are paying so much more, sometimes 200–300% more, because they were always in that 0 to 60% bracket, 60 liter per hour bracket.
Wow.
And those people come out and complain big time.
Wow.
And then we go and check, we double check with them, of course, with the client. Hey, this is your old meter, this is your new meter readings, and we see that you were in that 0 to 60 liter an hour bracket, more than usual.
Now, what about the digital electricity meters? Are there complaints with this one?
No, because as I mentioned before, the accuracy there is no difference between the accuracy between the digital and the analog meter. The only change is that it's digital and that it can transmit information, transmit and receive information.
So the best you can do when it comes to electricity then is just make sure you have compact fluorescent or LED lights to cut down on your consumption.
Correct. Air conditioning, use inverter air conditioning. Of course, I mean, you spend a little bit more, but in the long run, you save.
And another thing too, I see some elderly people with big flat screen TVs, and they're not energy efficient, and then you get a lot of problems too.
Yeah. LED TVs, flat screen TVs are the better ones to choose for right now.
One of the things I want to mention, since you said senior, you know, we have the senior relief.
Right.
And in the first round, we had about 313 seniors who applied. And in this second round, we have about 682.
Wow, double.
But for the same value that we had for it, so a number of persons have seen the amount decrease. So I just want to inform them that's the reason why it decreased.
So
it's not that GEBE make a mistake and not giving it to them anymore, but but it has doubled. The number of seniors have doubled.
It's like you have a cake, the cake is one size,
Yes.
but you have more people
You
now,
have
so it
more
makes
people now,
a smaller
yes.
slice.
Exactly.
That is
yes.
correct.
And so this is the second time the program is in place?
Yes.
And this time it goes until when?
It's for 6 months
6
again.
months?
Yes, so
Okay.
till December. And then from there, GEBE will analyze and then see how we will move forward with it.
So I'm amazed that it doubled this time around.
Yeah, the seniors, I guess after the first time, they realized what happened. Everybody come this time.
And that's for anyone that's over 60?
Yes, that's the senior age right now, over 60.
It's going to go up soon, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about the Facebook page, because you have a Facebook page, Arrendell?
Yes, we have a Facebook page where, as our communication officer so often said, when the persons can't get through to our emergency number, they go straight to the Facebook. Our corporate communication officer, she maintains that page, so she gets all messages, and then we try to respond as quick as possible.
That's Mrs. Gordon, right?
Miss Gordon,
All
yes.
right. All right, let me take some calls for you, all right? Oral Gibbes live on call. Hello.
Good evening, Mr. Gibbs.
Good evening, sir. How are you doing?
Okay, and good evening to your guest there from GEBE. I have one question. I would like to know how much distribution cable GEBE have running to the lowland.
In the lowland, good evening, sir. Basically, in the lowlands area, we have basically everything is underground. There's only a small section in the back of Summit that we still have to discuss and negotiate with some landowners to get that on the ground. But the majority, I could say 95% of the cables in lowlands are underground already. Don't forget, lowlands is being fed directly with some transmission cables from the power plant into the substation in Muller Bay. So it is a pretty sound location where electricity is being distributed to.
Okay, thank you. That was just my question. Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Oral Gibbes live on call. Hello.
Good night.
Good
I
night.
have 3 questions and 1 comment.
3 questions. You got to make it quick. Okay, go ahead.
What is the reason why that when you go apply for meter bid for water or for light, that GEBE is requesting paper from cadastre and all that? That's one.
Okay.
Also, they have to take into consideration some people still have problems with the share of the land and the ownership of the land, even if I have a matrix but they don't have a deed. What then they put in those people in a dilemma. All right? That's one. The next question is, what legal right does GEBE have to refuse someone a meter because the person that was living there before did not pay their bill? So how can you want to send somebody to jail for somebody who killed someone else? Okay? And my comment is, years ago, Lieutenant Governor, the present Minister of Justice now, he had a 5-year 10-year plan that my own you want to brainstorm. And that same topic came up about giving people water. But then I had all those who were undocumented. What would those people do? Because they're undocumented, and then you get a hygiene problem. You tell people, when they come from the toilet, wash your hands. When they do that, wash your hands, because they can't get water. No, that's my comment.
Okay, thanks for calling. Thank you, sir. Okay, commercial manager.
Okay,
deed
the
question.
issue with the deeds is something was always there in our rules and regulation, but we never applied it before. But once GEBE got itself in problem, and since then we are making sure that we request such information. And if anyone does not have the deed, so to speak, usually the front office workers always refer them to come to the manager. And then between the manager and the director, we do take a decision of how we will proceed with those customers.
Yeah, I was surprised when I first was confronted with it, and then I had to email them to GEBE, and now there's no problem.
Once we have it, that's it. Then we got it on file there. Yes.
There's the other one where the gentleman mentioned that if I go and rent a house from you, and then I leave the house and I owe GEBE maybe a few hundred, maybe a few thousand guilders, and somebody else comes now into that house, there's a problem. Is that true or not? Because he's
I don't believe that's true. I guess it's something maybe he did not say correct, because the contract is between the person who signs and GEBE.
Doesn't matter who was there before.
It doesn't matter who was there before. Okay. But oftentimes we have a lot of landlords who keep it in their own name.
Okay.
Of course, then it will become your problem. So
Okay.
if you don't monitor it, and that person leave a big bill behind, then you will have to pay it because the contract GEBE has is between you and GEBE.
So then, in a case like the last caller who just called, probably the landlord have the meter in their name, and that's the reason why.
Yeah, that's the only way I see it. Otherwise, I don't understand, because otherwise GEBE will have to find that other person to collect from them, because with them is who they have the legal agreements.
Now, Smyrna is a unique island where we have so many people from all over the world coming, and they're renters. If a new person walks into GBE, what is required of that person to identify that that is the real person that's coming to open service with GBE, whether it be electricity, water, or
Well, we always ask for the ID.
Okay.
We always ask to, no matter who, whether you come from away or locally, as you say, we have to provide the electricity and water, but we always ask for identification, and whatever our rules and regulations have thus far, once you meet those requirements, we always give you. And I believe that's why oftentimes, even when government or the tax office of anyone them need information, they oftentimes come to GEBE.
Yeah, so that
Yes.
you never had people come with a fake ID or anything like that?
Well, we have people who try a lot of things, you know, but we have our means and ways of checking it out.
Yeah. So you tell me GEBE have private investigators?
Well, you will be surprised of the things some people really try.
I know it's a
We even have a situation where people go that far, they even try to falsify the papers from the cadastre, so that's
Really?
bad it is,
Yeah.
yes. Because I guess the desperation sets in because they so want the light and water, but we have to abide by the rules and regulations. Because once GEBE get in a legal battle, it's GEBE who will have to deal with that situation.
So then, you know, the gentleman also mentioned that there are problems, and I'm aware of some of these problems, where you have families.
Succession.
Yes, and then they can't get that property divided, but they have a house on the property, but they don't have a deed.
But once you can provide at least then all the heirs, so you have to come with something that we can say, well, okay, you are one of the legal owners, so you must have something. But some people just come with nothing at all, and then they expect, you know, you have to come with something. We are aware of the situation at St. Martin, have a lot of issues with this succession land, and that's why we try our best. But once the employee cannot go ahead, they always refer them to higher up.
Oh.
So that should not be a problem, and then once the decision is taken, whatever the final is, yeah.
Do you see many cases like that still? Or?
But up to today, I dealt with 3.
Wow. Then it's still, yeah. So
It is an issue.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it takes a while to be.
It takes a while because certain times when you cannot get all the information, they can't get anyone, then a decision has to be taken.
Well, one thing, it seems that people are quite relaxed. You know why I say that? Because sometimes I do a show here, and man, people going crazy. They want to kill me for making a little recommendation. And now I have the commercial manager sitting. I have the head of planning and engineering, and I'm not hearing from all those people who always call. So something good is going on.
Unless we giving them the information they would like to know already. I know we have spoken about the electricity grid and high voltage and low voltage. But nevertheless, don't forget we have the water issue, where we have a big program right now going on to reduce also the water losses on the leaking water lines.
Okay.
We are busy now. What we're doing is basically taking the older, what we call HDPE lines, the plastic lines, taking them out because they are basically our water is crystallizing the line on the inside, and what happens? It starts to crack. And once it starts to crack, it tears and it starts to leak.
Okay.
So sometimes when you see people come, when the guys come out to work, they open up a section of the road or next to the road, they change the pipe, and 2 days later, it tears or it leaks further down. But because the entire line needs to be changed, sometimes, of course, we don't have the permit ready for the changing or the budget created in order to make that entire project and change out the lines. We have right now changed the water line to what it was, to a more compatible water line that can be used in our network and in our culture, our climate actually, whereas we have high temperature and we have also basically chlorine in our lines. And the combination of both is where the reaction comes, where the line crystallizes. Now the new pipe that we have in the ground that we are installing right now can go against it.
That's the blue one?
We have different colors. We have blue, we have black, that are not basically chlorine and temperature resistant.
Oh, okay.
So now what we have done, we purchased a new line. It is also black, but it's now chlorine and temperature resistant. So we hope that with this line, we don't have the same issues, or let me say in a shorter period of time, what we have seen with the older lines that are there.
And one thing what I want to mention tonight, starting from next week, we're going to be out at the community centers in the various neighborhoods. The intention is we're asking the citizens to come out, where we not only gather the information, what we need from them, but we also want to hear from them. We want to get feedback if they have any problems. So we will sit and take note. So we have a presentation, so we're hoping that they will come, and then they can be better informed.
I tell you, I'm amazed, because I've been doing call-in shows for a long time. GEBE was always one of the companies that a lot of people all over, and I got to commend you all because it's so nice tonight. People love you all. This is good, all right?
I want to mention also, I know I also mentioned that your water bill increases because of the change of the meter, but it is, don't look at it as if GEBE wants to make money off of the people, but GEBE is also investing back into the community, of course, as well. If you have seen for example, in Point Blanche, we have just recently installed 2 brand new tanks with a capacity of about 6,000 tons of water. We did one in Valley Estate as well. But eventually, piece by piece, we are changing out the network in order to accommodate, one, the quality, and of course, the storage capacity of the island. Because in emergency cases, for example, we need to have enough water and the right quality water to supply these people of the island.
Right. Arrendell Gibbes live on call. Hello.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening to you folks. You have there from GEBE.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And then also I'd like to say congrats to Ms. Arrendell.
Thank you.
Hello, you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, okay, good. What I would like to ask, the question I would like to ask is, you remember since Hurricane Lewis, we've been paying an extra, I think it's 50 gallons or 150 gallons extra for the leakage of the water and so on. And that's Hurricane Lewis of 1995. And it is still being charged to the clients or to the people. And we'd like to know when that will stop and when that is going to be finished, because like with all the new things that you guys are putting in and so on, when do we have to stop paying that extra money and just pay the normal bill and whatever? There's something that I would like to...
What are you talking about? 15 gallons?
Oh, 15 gallons, you said 150.
No, it's 15 gallons. 15 fixed charge.
So 15,
domestic and 50 for commercial.
Is that what you're speaking about, caller? The 15 gallons? Sir, hello? Turn your TV off, please.
No, 15 and 50.
Oh, you said 150.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
Oh, you have to keep your TV off, though. All right. Okay, thanks for calling. I'll have me respond to you. Okay,
Yes.
thanks.
The 15 gallon was a fixed charge that government agreed because the water company was making so many losses. The government agreed to place that 15 gallons there. And I guess until such time that no other decision is taken, that will remain so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Arrendell Gibbes live on call. Hello?
Yes, Mr. R. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, I'm just talking. I want to say something to the gentleman who's representing.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I live right up KB Sinclair Drive number 30. I have a telephone post right at the back of my yard that have been, right on the verge of falling. The whole bottom of the post is rotted off, and it's only the bridge at the back that is taken. I have made several complaints over the past, maybe more than this many times.
Can you give that address again, sir?
To that point. Like before election, somebody was sent up here to check it, please.
Okay, one moment, sir. Something. Hello. Your connection is not too good. You're on a cellular phone, right? You're on a cellular phone?
Yes.
Can you move around a little bit because we can hardly hear you?
A little bit. Can you that now?
No. Try again.
Yes, better now.
Yes. So give me the address, please.
Yes, Sinclair Drive number 13.
Seegers Drive, number 13.
No, Sinclair Drive number 13.
That's where?
GEBE.
Right, Sinclair
GEBE.
number 13.
Okay.
Sinclair Drive.
All right. Okay. So.
Right to the back of the port, the GD port is right there,
Yes,
and it's
phone
rocking. I think it's just the debris on the top that's what they taken it back from falling. And I went to make several complaints to GD main office, and nothing wasn't done. Right before the election, they sent somebody up here. They checked it out, and nobody never come back again. And that's just I have my closed line. And for me, something can happen. Maybe one of these days it can just fall and somebody could get hurt. And nobody at all paying attention to it. And I've been making complaint now for 2 years.
Well, I'm sure they'll take it. All right.
If it's possible, could we get your phone number? So I guess we'll get it offline.
Yeah.
And we could give you a call.
You want to give you my number, sir?
Yeah. Hold on. I'll have the operator take your number and then hold on, and then they'll get you. Okay. So hold on, please. Hold on. All right. Yeah. So then you go.
Yeah, basically, we have a lot of those cases where there are existing electricity poles in the yards of people, where in the past we didn't have the cadastral lines set out as proper as it is right now. So GEBE did what it could in order to install these poles. If the client would come in again and fill out a claim, then of course we could see if we could bring it into a project and also take the lines down and put everything on the ground. Sometimes we can't. What we then do is just replace the pole and put the pole back, put a new pole up and connect the cables back onto that pole until we could get back and do an entire project for that road or that area. So what we'll do is we'll pass on the information to the, let me say, the execution department tomorrow and let them go back out and see exactly what is going on. Because we also have the situations that there's a pole, but the pole is only maybe has cable TV or a TLM cable on it, and it might not be GEBE's pole. So what we'll do is we'll check it out and then give the gentleman a call.
All right. That takes take another call for you. Oral Gibbes live and call. Hello.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening. You're on live.
Mr. Gibbes and Mr. Drijvers and Ms. Arrendell. Just one question. When a pipe burst on GEBE side, and let's say the water is running, right? Do the customers have to pay for that, or is it GEBE fault? Because I know enough of times I call in concerning when I have a leak from anywhere. It doesn't matter who either. And when you call, they don't really show up for a long time, sometimes 3-4 days. And then a time one of the workers said, you all have to pay for this anyhow. So I just want to know if what is the situation, if it's the customer or GEBE fault.
Okay, let me have them respond to you, ma'am. Thanks for calling.
Good evening. If a line bursts before your meter on GEBE side, you will not be charged for that. That is what I earlier said. That is what we call the NRW, loss of revenue, on GEBE's behalf. So we do appreciate that you call in. And yes, sometimes we do take a little longer to get to certain areas because there are a lot of leaking lines. What we are trying to replace right now, as I earlier mentioned, we are changing out the older lines to the newer lines. So just as all customers, if you see a leaking line, just give us a call and have a little patience. Sometimes you come out the same day. Sometimes it takes a couple of days. It all depends on the workload.
But you don't pay for it.
Oh, you don't pay for it. Okay.
You don't pay for it.
You're on live call. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm calling from Bishop Road and Belvedere, right opposite the McDonald's. We have a pole that's hanging over a house, leaning. We reported it to GEBE several times and nothing was done. The pole is still hanging and it's like it's going to fall. And nobody's coming out to check it.
Okay, so that area.
Okay, thank you, caller. Again, what we'll do tomorrow, we'll go and assess it because, again, sometimes it is a pole that only has cable TV and TLM utilities on it. So if it is in such that it is a cable TV or TALEM cables on it, we will inform TALEM and cable TV as well. But we'll send someone out tomorrow and check that, that leading pole for you.
Oral Gibbes Live and caller, hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I want to commend the two people on the program.
This is Arrendell and Mr. Drijvers.
Yes. My question is, what is GEBE doing in terms of beautification of the island? Why I'm asking this is that, of course, they're working towards putting all the cables on the ground, but so oftentimes you see when a job is finished, the debris is left. You have a large part of the cables up on top of the ground, and it makes the place look so ugly. So I would like to hear the reaction on that.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, caller. That is pretty simple. The lines that you see above ground, most of the times are the connections where we go to a distribution point, as I mentioned earlier in the show. We try right now together with VROMI, because VROMI is on our backs on a day-to-day basis. Once we do any trench work, that everything is cleaned and cleared according to their specifications. So when we go in order to do any trench work, for example, we are doing a project for, in Beaver Drive, for example, like we did one also in Archimedes. Government goes in, paves the road, but before paving the road, the utility companies go in and put their utilities in underground. Whereas once the government puts in the road, they put in the sidewalk, and collaboratively we beautify basically the roads that are in those areas. So we try and do that on most of the road, main roads as well. But again, it takes some time and of course money to do that.
We out of time, so I have just about 25 seconds for each of you. For us here, Mr. Drijvers.
Well, thanks again for having us. Again, callers, keep calling in. There are other little things, of course, that we missed on the show, but we could bring those things back up on another show. But keep on calling us for any leaks and any issues with the overhead lines, and we will assist you as much as we can.
Okay, and
I want to tell everyone to come out to when we have the sessions in the community center, and there you'll be able to interact. We'll have more employees there, and you'll be able to get your points across in a better way. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank both of you for coming in, Arrendell and Drijvers. I really appreciate it. And I think it shows that GEBE is committed and respect its clients. I really appreciate that. All right?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. And that's it for now. See you next time. Until then, good night. Take care.